Good morning, Abundant Life Church. This is Pastor Chris. Today we're going to start a new study on John chapter 11, verses 46 through 57. This is right after Jesus rose Lazarus from the dead. And this is really the reaction, the response to that incredible miracle. It's a response of the religious leaders. They have a meeting. Now, I want to talk about meetings for a second. I've never made any secret of the fact that I don't like meetings. I don't like sitting through meetings. My attention span is not what you call real great. And meetings tend to bore me. And I found that a lot of meetings, well, let me put it this way. Years ago, when I was up in Oregon, I sat on the board of directors for a couple different organizations and for a Bible college. So I had to go to board meetings. I also had to go to a meeting of the Ministerial Association. It was called figure out what the acronym is here, Central Oregon Ministerial Association. That's right, COMA. So I went to meetings that were called things like board and COMA. I've never liked meetings, but I came up with a solution once laptop computers became a thing. I bought my laptop computer to meetings with me, and people assumed I was taking notes, and that worked great until the chairman of the elders happened to need to run out of the room for a second. He happened to walk right behind me and see that I was watching Monday Night Football on my screen. Meetings. This passage is about a meeting. The religious leaders are talking about having Jesus murdered. All right. They don't like the fact that he raised Lazarus from the dead. So their solution is they're going to kill him. These are religious leaders. And then the head guy there tells them they're all wrong and then suggests the same idea they've been discussing. Let's murder him anyways. Apparently, when he said it, it was actually a prophecy, except he didn't know at the time that he was making a prophecy. And things didn't happen the way they exactly thought they would. Okay, then. We're going to try to make sense of this rather bizarre meeting and actually find something useful in it for our faith today. So what exactly was going on at this meeting? Because the details seem really confusing. They were arguing. They had a plan for murder. They had an unintentional prophecy. Quite the church meeting you guys have going on there. You see, again, they had a problem. When Jesus does things like raising people from the dead, it makes Jesus more popular than them. And that's just not acceptable. So they decide they're just going to go ahead and kill him. Let's look now at verse 46 here. But some of them went to the Pharisees and told them what Jesus had done. Some people who saw Lazarus raised from the dead by Jesus, first thing they did is they tattle on Jesus to the religious authorities like he had done something wrong. Okay, think about this. You just see a guy raised from the dead, and that makes you decide that you want to be on the other team against him? Really? Doesn't that show the fear and control these religious leaders had on people? You're more afraid of the Pharisees than you're afraid of the Son of God? The idea that they're afraid is fascinating. Well, let's look at the meeting that they had here, verses 47 and 48 here. 47 says, if I can find it, then the chief priests and the Pharisees called the meeting of the Sanhedrin. What are we accomplishing, they asked. Here is this man performing these many signs. If we let him go on like this, everyone will believe in him. Then the Romans will come and take away both our temple and our nation. All right? They have an emergency meeting now. The agenda for the meeting is clear. The agenda for the meeting is also ridiculous. They willingly admit that Jesus was performing godly miracles. He just raised a guy from the dead, after all, who'd been dead for a few days. But even if that's an obvious sign that he's from God, their plan is to try to stop him? Good thinking. You wouldn't want to agree with somebody with that kind of power. No, you're better off trying to go ahead and have him killed. The idea that they're afraid that Rome will destroy everything if they don't get Jesus under control That's really more of a rationalization and a convenient excuse than an actual concern. The real worry is that they're losing their influence over the people. And they resent Jesus for that. They resent him that he's become more popular than they are. And they think if we just put him to death, this will be for the sake of the people, so that Rome doesn't come in and destroy everything. They're just trying to make themselves sound noble. By the way, they did put Jesus to death, and a few decades later, Rome did come in and destroy everything. Good plan there, guys. All right, let's look at verses 49 now to 53, because somebody pipes up with a different point of view. Verse 49. Let me get the old people glasses out here. Then one of them, named Caiaphas, who was the high priest that year, spoke up. You know nothing at all. You do not realize it's better for you that one man die for the people than that the whole nation perish. He did not say this on his own. But as high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus would die for the Jewish nation, and not only for that nation, but also for the scattered children of God, to bring them together and make them one. So from that day on, they plotted to take his life. All right. Caiaphas says, you know what, you guys are wrong. What we need to do is kill him, even though that's what they had just said. And when he said it, it's some sort of a prophecy, but not an actual prophecy. Okay? So what did John mean when he said that Caiaphas didn't say this on his own? This was a prophecy that one man would die for the nation. God was giving prophetic messages to the same guy who was plotting to kill his son. Why would God do that? What would be the point? So what did any of this mean? Let's start with Caiaphas. What did he mean exactly with his prophecy? I think the answer is found in our next session. So tune in then and we'll find out. Till then, have a great day.